Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again with another deck tech. And, I'm really hoping you've hit the subscribe button if you're here. If not, hopefully you have now. Right, so today's deck tech. We're still carrying on with some of the Lord of the Rings legends. Obviously, earlier this week we've covered Gandalf the White. We've covered Sauron yesterday. Previously, I've done Tom Bombadil, that's back in the thing, along with Aragorn. They were preview cards that I covered. Not my preview ones, but ones I found that inspired me. But I didn't even see this card. I missed this all the way through the spoiler season. And it is obviously King of the Oathbreakers. 2 white and a black for a 3/3 creature, legendary spirit noble thing with flying. But the abilities, how I missed these abilities when I was going through the spoilers, I will never know. First one, whenever King of the Oathbreakers, another spirit you control becomes a target of a spell, it phases out. And whenever the King of the Oathbreakers or another spirit you control phases in, create a tapped 1/1 white spirit token with flying. Okay then. So we have a new way of, maintaining an army. Because you want to blink it you want to blink your stuff in and out. I mean, you can target if you really want to. Be spells fizzle, but blinking in and out stuff isn't the end of the world. And when they come back in, you get tokens. Okay, I can't actually see anything wrong with this so far. It's going to be really hard for your opponent to remove the King of the Oathbreakers anyway, so if you try and target it, it just phases out and it comes back in with the spirit. Yes, mass removal effects, blasphemous axe, cyclonic rift overload, etc. will work, but bounce spells, path to exile, terror, anything along those lines, even spells that exile, they just go, yeah, we're just going to phase out and then come back in with the spirit with us. So, how did I build the deck? Well, it looks very much like this. Lots of black and white lands, as you can imagine. I have got Fabled Passage in the Field of the Dead in. There's a couple of expensive cards in here, which is why the cost is so high. I have got Marsh Flats in here, and I have dropped in a little bit further down my scrub land. Obviously, you can take these out. You don't need them. You can just play another Plains and a Swamp. Speaking of which, we have got more Plains in here than we have any other colour. Basic swans. We have got Urborg to make up for it, but the reason we've got so many Plains is purely because I've got Emiria in here just so we can bring stuff back if we need to. Bear that in mind. Another card that can come out, doesn't need to be there, but I've put it in because I think it could be useful. As for the actual artifact ramp side, Mox Tantalites here, Jeweled Lotus again, another card that can be dropped if you want to keep the cost down in real life. Yeah, I've just put it in because I've got one online. I don't own one in real life, but yeah, it's here. We've got Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, the Black and the White Diamonds, and Talisman of the Hierarchy. That's it. That's all I've gone with. It's not an overly mana-intensive deck to a certain extent, but as you can see, we have a lot more white cards in the deck than we have black cards, so hence why the balance is slightly skewed towards white for this deck. But the other thing I want to do is try and keep we've got 31 creatures in the deck, and they are spirits to a certain extent. I'll explain why I went to spirits in a second. So we want to keep the spirits in place, so if we start targeting things, they just disappear. And then come back in with more of them. So the reason I'm doing spirits is Chaplain of the Arms is here as a human cleric, but obviously when you disturb it, it comes back as a very interesting spirit that gives all our creatures Ward 1, which I'm not going to complain about. It could be useful with this. But we've got the blink stuff in, so Cloud Shift is here. Yes, I realise, I think if I get it right, these don't happen because the spirit goes, we phase out, this then fizzles. So, you don't get the comes into play effect again, which is a bit of a shame, but yeah, it's an easy way to do it. Ephemeret's here as well, same reason. Topplegeist. I think it's just as a spell. Yeah, it's not an ability, unfortunately. Otherwise, we'd be tapping our own stuff, but we can't with this one. Enters battlefield, tap target creature and opponent controls, and if there are four more card types among your graveyard, tap target creature that player controls at the beginning of each upkeep. So that's actually really good. It's only a 1/1. It's a flyer. You've got to make sure your Delirium's in place. But if you can tap something down and then work on it, or late game, it could be good. Elixir of Immortality is here just to shuffle everything back in as we need it. Eidolon of Obstruction is another spirit and just makes Planeswalkers a little bit more expensive to activate, but a 2/1 first strike for 2 is fine. I've got no issue with that. Flicker to phase things, trigger the phasing out ability if we need to, or We can trigger it if we need to save something. Bear it in mind if we haven't got King of the Oathbreakers in play. Otherworldly Journey does the same thing. And Offenser lets our creatures come in a little bit bigger. And don't forget, when they phase out, they keep the +1/+1 counters on them. Had to go back to the beginning, and Nether Shadow was one of my favourite cards when I started playing. And yeah, it's the first time I've been able to use it in the Spirit deck for a while, so it's here. Metallic Mimic obviously comes in, it's named Spirit. We're going to pump our creatures up as we go along. And then the Swift Foot Boots are here just to protect the king, because it doesn't have any natural protection on it. So apart from the spell targeting thing. But yeah, we may want to be attacking with it as soon as possible. Bygone Bishop. Whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value 3 or less, investigate. So that's quite nice. Gives another way to draw cards. Drum Bellow untaps all our creatures during each player's untap step. Lingering Souls, 2 spirit tokens, and they get to be flashed back. It doesn't say anything about tokens, so they do come back in and bring more tokens with them. That's why. So we've got Martyr's Soul as well, convoking it out. Hopefully we can convoke this out and make it come into play as a 5/4. That'd be really good. Midnight Haunt gives us some instant speed spirits. Radiant Destiny. I didn't go too far down the whole let's pick a creature type with this deck, I have to say. I did think about it. I thought it was a bit repetitive of things I've done recently. But Radiant Destiny is quite good. Pumps our creatures up. And it means if we get the City's Blessing, they all get Vigilance as well. So we're not going to complain. Scroll Shift does the whole let's blink it out again. And Teferi's Protection just basically phases everything out, which is quite nice, because if you've got a whole load of spirits in play, when you phase everything out with Teferi's Protection, they come back in, you get a whole load of spirit tokens, which you can't complain about. Faithbound Judge, just so we can have the defending Flyant's Vigilance. It was a Spirit Soldier. Not too worried about the Sinner's Judgment, to be honest. At the beginning, yeah, you can disturb it if you want to. But yeah, once it does that, it does get exiled, so it's probably better off trying to keep this as the creature side. Gravelighter is either a sack everything, or save one sacks a creature, or you draw a card, which is cool. Urborg Scavengers. Exiles, enters the battlefield or attacks exile target card from a graveyard. Put a +1/+1 counter on the Scavengers. Urborg Scavengers has flying as long as the card has exile with flying. All the rest of the abilities that are there. I'm not going to go through them all. You can read it yourself. Etchings of the Chosen lets us choose a creature type. Again, another one that we can do +1/+1s on. Mortify, destroy target enchantment or creature. Herald's Horn makes our spirits less costly to cast. Anointed Procession, I had to really put it in with the amount of spirit tokens we're generating. It made sense to have this one here. And Grey Host Reinforcements. This comes directly in from the new Lord of the Rings Commander set. Flying Ward. When Grey Host Reinforcements enter the battlefield, exile target player's graveyard. Put a number of +1/+1 counters on the Grey Host, equals the number of creature cards exiled this way. So this is probably going to come in at a minimum as a 4/4, I would guess, if you're lucky. You want to hold on to it so you can get a nice big flyer though. But the Ward 3 is going to make it really difficult to deal with, especially if you've got King of the Oathbreakers in play as well. So bear it in mind. Release the Memory, just another way of giving us spirits that we might need. Semester's End. Exile any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers and then return them. Just another mass way of exiling the ball to get a load of spirits. You know what Smothering Tide does. Wall of Reverence, give us a bit of life gain. Windborne Muse slows down everyone attacking us. It's another spirit. Not, it's a bit overly costed, but it's good fun. Celestial Crusader, split second, play it in, save all your creatures if they're getting -1/-1. And it's got flash, and it's a spirit itself, so we're not going to complain. And it has flying, so Court of Grace, even if we're not the Monarch, gives us what spirit creature tokens every turn, which is going to annoy people. Day of Judgment, Damnation, control the board. Ghost Council of Orzhov, we all know this one. Enters the battlefield, target opponent loses 1, you gain 1, and then you can sacrifice a creature. Exile the Ghost Council, return it to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of the next end step. Again, obviously it does this, but it's quite good with these things as well. Settle Beyond Reality, you get to exile someone's creature and then blink one of ours if we need to. AO, just another spirit. Hopefully we'll when it dies we get to do the whole +1/+1 counter bit. That's what I usually play it for. Karmic Guide, just to go the whole into the battlefield, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Thank you very much. Cope with that. Reverend just gives us a big creature. Banshee of the Dread Choir is a Myriad. I'm not sure if Myriad's working at the moment, so this may be a mistake. But it basically means whenever you attack, you get a copy of the creature attacking each opponent. I don't think the Myriad stuff's working too well on Magic Online at the moment, but if you're playing it in real life, good card. Get the discard in. Junji gives us another way of getting something that's not a dragon back from our graveyard, which the other dragon we've got is, well, there's 3 other dragons. We'll come to them, but it helps. Sezian, the Perverter of Truth, another way of drawing cards. It might kill your opponent off if they're low on life. Mori and Teshar, just because they're spirits, not so much from the whenever you cast a historic spell side of thing, but they were just quite a good spirit, I thought, for a bit of fun. The other version obviously that's here as well. We can exile it, return it, so on and so forth. And Divinity of Pride. This comes into play as an 8/8 most of the time with flying and lifelink, and it upsets people, so bear that in mind. Yoshi's here, just so we can... There's another spirit. I've forgot about Yoshi until recently, to be fair. But this one skips their next untap step, and you tap 5 permanents. Can be slowing someone down who could be about to win. Kukushko, we all know what Kukushko does. Athros, Shrouded Veil, is also in here. I think it's a nice way of getting some of our stuff back. We can put some coin counters on our spirits, and then if they get died or put into exile, return that to the cards to the battlefield under our control. And it keeps the coin counters if they get phased out. Don't forget, phasing is not the same as exiling. So, just vanishes for a little while, comes back. You get to keep your counters on things. Ethereal Absolution, just a nice, cheap, interesting way. Well, not cheap, but +1/+1 for your creatures, -1/-1 for your opponent's creatures. And then you get to make a load of spirit tokens, which you can't complain about. Drug Skull Cavalry, a little bit of life gain when spirits enter, and you can pay 4 mana late in the game just to keep making those spirit tokens. Death Rattle Oni, this spell costs 2 less to cast for each creature that died this turn, and when Death Rattle Oni enters the battlefield, destroy one of the creatures that will dealt damage this turn. Now this came from Aftermath, and I haven't seen it played yet. However, I'm playing it because of all the spirits that we have. We'll be doing a lot of blocking, and it might be that we can just wipe the board out occasionally with this that has got flash. And I would imagine if your spirits are dying, you will be paying 1 black mana for this a lot of the time when those creatures are being dealt damage. So it could be really, really useful. I'm surprised it's not seeing more play than it is at the moment. Finally, Kea, Intangible Slayers here, mainly because at the end of the day, if you get to the -3, you can exile target creature enchantment, and if it wasn't an aura, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying in addition to its other types. So, a little bit of fun there at the end with Kea. Kea is another card you can drop out and put something else in if you want to. But that's it. That's my little take on King of the Oathbreakers. Got something a bit different coming up tomorrow, so I'm glad you've watched to the end of the video. Please leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, thanks for watching, bye.